Have you ever walked into a room and it just felt good? Or walked into another and felt instantly stressed out? I promise it is not your imagination. The space around us, our homes, our offices, it has a real, tangible effect on our mood, our productivity, and our well-being. And it's that very connection we're going to dive into today.
But what if you could take that a step further? What if you could intentionally design your environment, not just to feel good, but to actually improve your health, your wealth, and yeah, even your luck? Well, believe it or not, there's an ancient system designed to do exactly that.
And it's called Feng Shui. Now that literally translates to wind-water, and it's this incredibly sophisticated philosophy that's been around for, thousands of years. It's all about observing the natural world, especially how wind flows and where water gathers, and arranging our man-made world to be in perfect harmony with it.
So how does this ancient art of placement actually work? Well, it all starts with a really simple, but honestly profound idea.
The entire foundation of Feng Shui is the harmonious balancing of yin and yang. You've probably heard of this concept before, the idea that everything has its opposite, right? And that real harmony, real balance, comes from bringing those two forces together.
In design, yin represents all the quiet, dark, and restful energies. Think of your bedroom or a cozy reading nook. Yang, on the other hand, is all about that bright, open, and active energy, like your entryway or your living room. The goal isn't to have all of one or all of the other. No way. It's about finding that perfect blend that really suits what you do in each space.
Now this whole balance thing, it's all in service of managing something absolutely central to Feng Shui. It's an invisible but super powerful force, and we need to talk about it. Let's talk about Qi. Qi, and sometimes you'll see it spelled Qi, is basically the life force that flows through everything, the earth, plants, animals, and yeah, even through the rooms of your house. It's kind of like the breath of your home. A really great way to think about Qi is through this one description. It is as subtle as radio waves, yet as concrete as a mountain stream. I mean, how perfect is that? You can't see it, just like radio waves, right? But its effects are as real and powerful as a stream of water. And just like that stream, the way it flows, well, that's absolutely crucial. So here's the deal. You want that Qi to flow gently, to kind of meander through your home. If it moves too fast, like, say, shooting down a long straight hallway, that becomes what's called aggressive Sha Qi, not good. But if it gets trapped in a cluttered corner, it becomes stagnant Su Qi, also not good. The goal is this healthy, gentle circulation.
Okay, so how on earth do Feng Shui practitioners actually manage this flow of energy? Well, they've got this amazing toolkit of principles that have been refined over centuries.
It really all starts with finding the perfect spot in the landscape itself. And the ideal, well, it's what's called the armchair configuration. Just picture it, a layout that offers protection, security, and a place for all that good energy to just gather. Okay, so here's how it works. You want a mountain or some high ground behind you for support. That's your backing. Then you've got hills on either side, like these protective arms wrapping around you. Out front, you need an open space where energy can collect, and ideally, there's some water there. And then, way out beyond that, a little footstool hill. I mean, it's the ultimate power position, right? Total safety and tons of opportunity.
Okay, another huge tool is understanding the 5 elements. And these aren't just, literal things. They're more like phases of energy that all interact in a cycle. So in what they call the production cycle, each element actually nourishes the next one. Water helps wood grow. Wood feeds fire. Fire creates earth from its ash. Earth produces metal, and metal, through condensation, creates water. See how it all connects? The whole idea is that by balancing these elements in your space, you're creating a really harmonious and productive vibe.
So, I know this might all sound a bit abstract, but these exact principles have been used to design some truly incredible buildings for centuries. So, let's take a look at how this all comes together in the real world.
And just to see how timeless these ideas really are, we're going to look at 2 super different buildings. First, a magnificent 19th century Chinese mansion, and then a sleek 20th century Art Deco building in London. Yeah, London. First up, the Chong Fat Zi Mansion. This place is a total masterpiece of classical feng shui. It was literally designed with 5 courtyards to symbolize the 5 elements. The central courtyard, it's completely open to the sky. This allows rainwater, which is seen as a form of heaven Qi, to collect and slowly, fertilize the entire home with all this positive energy. And that idea, the idea of collecting water, that is so key. In Feng Shui, there is a direct, powerful link between the water element and accumulating wealth. And that brings us to our second and much more modern example.
Okay, get ready for this. We're looking at the stunning Art Deco foyer of the Daily Express building in London. Now, it's really unlikely the designers knew a thing about Feng Shui, but they intuitively created a space that is perfectly designed for prosperity. Look at the floor. That black and blue ripple pattern, it's a powerful symbol for water. And what about the chrome and metal walls? Well, remember that element cycle? Metal produces water, which just amps up that energy of wealth even more.
So what's the result? A masterpiece of design that, maybe totally by accident, is a perfect example of Feng Shui in action. And get this, during its time as a newspaper headquarters, the company was incredibly successful. Coincidence? Maybe. But you have to admit, the principles line up perfectly. All right, so we've seen these grand mansions and iconic corporate headquarters. But what does any of this mean for you, in your own space? Well, the really cool thing is that these principles are completely scalable. You don't need a huge budget or a fancy architect to start thinking about the energy in your home. The core ideas, they're totally universal.
So what are the big takeaways here? First, just recognize that your environment is actively shaping your energy. It's not passive. Second, look for balance. Do you have both bright, active, that's yang, spaces, and quiet, restful, that's yin, spaces? Third, check the flow. Seriously, can you walk through your rooms easily, or is energy getting stuck behind clutter? And finally, just remember that really good intuitive design often has good feng shui baked right in.
So the next time you walk through your front door, just pause for a second. Don't just see a bunch of furniture, try to feel the flow of energy. What is the energy of your home telling you? And maybe more importantly, what story do you want it to tell?